Okay. I don't know who said this. Somebody must have said change is good. I was trying to find the author of that quote, or who was the very first person to say that, but that's probably been said by a million people. So I couldn't find anybody to attribute it to. So as Mr. Browers and I were just discussing just a few minutes ago, by the way, I'm going to take this jacket off because number one, it's too small for me. I'm busting out. This is probably the worst kept secret in the history of our company. I don't know if this is going to work up here. But at any rate, we're making a change. Is that okay, Ryan? Does that sound all right? Sound all right? Okay. We're going to, let me give you guys a little history because we have some new people here. And I'll make some introductions here after we get through this because I don't have everybody's name memorized. We are going to be dropping the Pioneer Real Estate DBA under Coldwell Banker, and we are going to basically unify the 5 offices under the Town and Country DBA. And let me give you a little history because most of you probably know how the history of the company and the acquisitions we've done over the last few years. But let me give you a little bit more background just so you can kind of see where I'm at. Because this was, for some of you, you may be like, no big deal, whatever, that's fine, I could care less. Others, you may think, well, that's great, I never liked the Pioneer name anyway. Others may be, geez, Town and Country, I don't know that I'm really happy with that one either. So I'm sure there's the gamut of reactions from I could care less to it's the best thing in the world to the worst thing in the world. So let me give you a little history. First of all, and actually, I'm pretty sure, I know we talked about this, were you the very, very first agent? Okay. When the history of me, if you will, is when I got my real estate license and came to Moreno Valley, this building is the very first office I worked. This was Great Western Real Estate. And my dad was working here for, I think, about a year or so, and that would have been in 1987. And I came out here in 1988 from Cerritos, still in real estate out there for a year, and worked in this office, which is just really crazy. This was the very first building that I worked in. I don't even know where I was because the bullpen in the office was materially the same as it is, which the offices are changed a little bit, but it was basically the same structure. So at any rate, in 1988, my dad got in a little bit of a pissing contest with the manager of this office at the time over some logos and stuff and said, I'm going to go do my own thing. So Pioneer Real Estate was born. All right. So we moved to the corner of Heacock and Sunnymead, right behind the Wiener Schnitzel. Our very first agent that joined our team was Steve Browers, who took about a 24-year hiatus and did some different stuff and has now been back. But Steve literally was the very first agent that we hired as a Pioneer Real Estate agent. So anyway, we did our thing for about 12 years. Myself, my dad, and I think we at the time probably had no more than 15 agents at our peak, and we were lean and mean and tight, and everybody made money, and that was that. When my folks retired, one of my plans for the company was to grow. And the reality is there are very, very few independent real estate companies that have any sort of size and depth within the market. Probably the only one that's had any huge success that I can think of is Tarbell. Tarbell is independently owned and operated. They certainly have been a force in Southern California, but quite honestly, if you go to Northern California or you get any way out of Southern California, nobody's ever heard of them. All right? So they kind of broke the mold from a standpoint of growth, at least regionally, but there's not a lot of other independent companies that can say that. So I spent, after my dad retired, about 3 years, literally, looking at franchises. I looked at all of them. Coldwell Banker is where we landed. And the part of the plan was to grow the office, see if we could do anything with multiple locations, and after 5 or 6 or 7 years of doing that, we started to grow. Okay, we opened the Santa Ana office, which is hard to believe. The Santa Ana office we opened 4 years ago, almost. Actually, about 3.5 years ago. Might as well be 4. Then, as most of you know, we started dating and married the Town and Country office in Claremont and Covina. So it's literally, we're on our 3.5-year anniversary of acquiring the Claremont and Covina Coldwell Banker Town and Country. And again, as probably most of you know, a decision was made at that time not to blend the names. And the decision was the following. Number one, we had been Pioneer Real Estate in this community for 25 years, either as Pioneer Real Estate or as Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate. and frankly the Town and Country office. Who's been to the Claremont-Covina office, by the way? I know a few of you. Okay. Well, those offices have been in business in those cities for an equal amount of time. They've both been doing business. Actually, they've been doing business as Coldwell Banker Town and Country for 25 years. So, and they were functioning offices. I mean, they've got, at the time, had 35, 40 agents. Now they've got 50 to 60 agents. And it was just a tough decision, geez, do we make them Pioneer Real Estate? Do we make us Town and Country? And the decision was made to leave it alone. So, for a variety of reasons. Some of them good, some of them not so good. So anyway, a year or so later, again, some of you may have forgotten this, but actually it wasn't a year later, it was a few months later, we acquired the Coldwell Banker Integrity offices, which is just kind of a blip. Sometimes I even forget about that. But we acquired 2 offices. The Coldwell Banker Integrity was in Paris, and then Coldwell Banker Integrity in Redlands. For those of you that know anything about the Coldwell Banker Integrity offices, the word integrity does not go anywhere with that prior relationship. So we immediately dropped the Integrity brand, rebranded them as Pioneer Real Estate, and we closed the office in Paris because they wanted to charge us $4,000 a month for a building that was worth $1,000. And at any rate, so we did business as Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate in the city of Redlands for about a year, which led to the acquisition of the Coldwell Banker Realty Center office. Who's been to the Redlands office? Okay. Well, we just passed our 2-year anniversary, which is amazing to believe that it's been 2 years since we acquired the Redlands office, Realty Center. But the same decision was made 2 years ago. It's like, oh boy, we're really schizophrenic. I mean, we're Pioneer Real Estate here, we're Town and Country out there, we're Realty Center in Redlands, and the same decision was made. Number one, let's leave it as Coldwell Banker Realty Center because they've been doing business. It's amazing, all of these 5 different offices, with the exception of Santa Ana, but Moreno Valley, Redlands, Claremont-Covina, all of those offices have been doing businesses in those communities for 25 years. I mean, we literally opened our doors within a year and a half of each other. So the decision was made, let's leave the Coldwell Banker Realty Center name alone. Again, for some good reasons and some, for lack of a better description, weak reasons. And the weakness was on my part. I just didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to take a risk of upsetting the apple cart and making some name changes. So at any rate, so for the last few years, we've been doing business under 3 different DBAs. We've all seen our trifecta logo when you go onto the website, which has now changed. Matter of fact, as long as we're talking about that, I don't know what you guys thought about the 3 logos that we had on our website previously. To be honest with you, I'll tell you what I thought about them. I hated it. I just thought they were atrocious. So anyway, we've now gotten rid of our 3 logos. But let me give you a couple 3 stories, and then maybe we'll get a little bit of feedback from you guys. One of the challenges for doing business, number one, it's a lot more, believe it or not, it's a lot more expensive to do business under 3 different names than it is one. Simple things like ordering letterhead and envelopes and marketing pieces. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. And frankly, that's not the reason we made the change. It wasn't that I was trying to save $100 on stationery. But frankly, probably the biggest challenge for me, and I've been using the word bigness, there's probably a better word I could use, but we've lost something, I think, over the last 3 years. We are one of the largest Coldwell Banker franchises in Southern California. And I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it to me. And quite honestly, the sense of family and the sense, not that we're going to have it, and we make this name change, we're not all going to, all of a sudden start attending, the Redlands agents' birthday parties and that sort of stuff. But there is a sense, in my opinion, there's a sense of loss as it relates to the scale of what we've accomplished over the last few years. And I'll give you a couple examples. One that is fairly recent. Who attended the Gen Blue event down in Palm Desert a couple months ago? Okay. Did you attend both days? Was everybody? Okay. I know not everybody stayed for the second day, but the example I'm going to give you is the morning of the second day. Who was that in the morning of the second day? Okay, looks like 3 or 4 of them. Okay, I think there was probably about 400 people in that room-ish. And before they started off the meeting, the speaker who was kind of kicking off the event said, hey, let's take a couple of minutes and let's just call out all of the Coldwell bankers that are here from the different locations in Southern California. And everybody just stand up and take a couple minutes. Not even that, just stand up. Hey, Coldwell Banker, ABC Realty, and 6 people would stand up and applaud. Hey, Coldwell Banker, XYZ Realty, 6 people would stand up and everyone would applaud. Well, there was one office which is relatively new to the franchise. It's Coldwell Banker West. They're in Chula Vista, relatively new. And they said, hey, Coldwell Banker West, stand up. And they had about, I think, probably about 35 people in their group. And they all stood up. At that point, they were, frankly, the largest group within the building, within the 400 agents. And I pay attention to stuff like that. Many of you in the room may not even have given it a second thought, but I'm looking. Coldwell Banker ABC, oh, there's 3 people here. Oh, Coldwell Banker West, oh, they got 35 people here. They had roughly, 8-10% of the people in the room were from this one office. So you probably know where I'm going with this story. So then they go and say, okay, well, Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate. And the people from Pioneer, we had 5 or 6 of us in the room, stood up, and we had 5 or 6. And then they if they would have done it the following way, it might have had a different impact on me. If they would have said, hey, Coldwell Banker and Pioneer from Moreno Valley and Santa Ana stand up, and also the Coldwell Banker Town and Country team stand up from Claremont and Covina, and the Coldwell Banker Realty Center team stand up, and we could have kind of done it in unison, I would have thought, okay, that's kind of cool. But number one, the reason they didn't do that is because the person at the microphone, number one, wasn't even thinking that. And I know the guy. And he knows that we have 5 offices under 3 different DBAs. And he's known that for 3 years. And he wasn't even thinking that. So what he did is he read, Coldwell Banker, Pioneer Real Estate, stand up. 6 of us stood up. He then called off 3 or 4 different companies, ABC Company, XYZ Company, Elemental P Company. Then he got down to his list. Oh, and Coldwell Banker Town and Country, stand up. 6 or 7 people stood up. Then he read off 4 or 5 other Coldwell Banker offices, and then he said, oh, Coldwell Banker Realty Center, stand up. And it literally was one of those things that kind of hit me. And it wasn't the first time that hit me. Because if they had called, now granted, we had about 30 people, 28 people or so that had attended the conference. Sunday or the following morning, we had lost a few people, but we had 25 people in the room. We would have been the 2nd largest company attendance-wise to stand up in that room. And quite honestly, we had no impact. And again, you may not care. You may at the end of the day say, Lance, that's no big deal. Well, I got to tell you, I think it's a big deal. It is big. It is one of the reasons, quite honestly, that I've got this brand on my shirt, is I want to leverage the brand. I want to leverage our size. And frankly, doing it under 3 different DBAs is not cutting it. I could tell you half a dozen other stories, but I'll just share one other with you. I don't know if it's the best of the half a dozen I have remaining, but it's the one I'm thinking of. I was at a meeting with somebody that I've known for 25 years. And we randomly started talking shop, and the topic of Coldwell Banker Town and Country office in Claremont came up. And this particular guy was doing a deal with an agent in the Claremont office. And I don't know how we got on the topic other than it was a Coldwell Banker related conversation. He said, oh yeah, do you know this person, so on and so forth? And it's a good agent, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, hey, do I know this person? It's my agent. And this person was like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, we acquired that office 3 years ago. That's part of the Pioneer family of companies. He was completely oblivious, had no idea. He knew that we had acquired multiple offices at multiple locations, but there was no connection of the dots. So at any rate, this has been going on for a long time. And part of my struggle, to be honest with you, has been the whole Pioneer thing. By the way, if you guys run into my mom and dad, I haven't told them. And I'm probably not going to be telling them anytime soon. I think if we play our cards right, we could go on for a few years here and they won't even know what's going on. Okay? So they'll see the Town and Country shirt, and I'll say, I was just out in Claremont a couple days ago, no big deal. I'll wear the Pioneer shirt on Tuesdays. So, at any rate, but I got to tell you, there was a certain amount of that. Not to mention, and this applies to many of you in this office, I know Debbie and I have had some discussions about this, you know, we have a pioneer, for better or worse, we have a pioneer brand in this community, okay? So it is somewhat of a struggle for me to, for lack of a better word, abandon that pioneer brand. And having said that, I don't know, I talked to somebody, another little anecdote, but I talked to somebody probably 3 months ago, past client of mine, didn't even know we were Coldwell Banker. So we've been Coldwell Banker for 12 years, guys. So we're going to have to do our job to the degree that it's important, certainly important to our client base, whether it's property management or our past clients, just to let our clients know, hey, we're doing something a little bit different. And I honestly, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a super duper nice positive change for us. So about 2 months ago, the decision was made, and this kind of gets back to our conversation that Steve and I were having earlier. It's probably the worst kept secret in history of secrets, I suppose. But about two months ago, we made a decision. Actually, let me just leave that right there. We made a decision to do this, and the thought was, well, we're going to make the name change effective January 1. Okay? And quite honestly, I was like, well, gosh, if we're going to do it, what's the point? Why are we going to wait? You know? And you guys all know Ingrid's been doing some recruiting and stuff, and I've been recruiting a lot of agents, and that really hasn't been my role. Hasn't really been my role to sit down in front of an agent and say, hey, this is who we are, and sell the brand. And quite honestly, as Ingrid starts setting up these appointments for me, and I'm selling the brand, I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. You know, I've got new agents across the desk from me sitting by saying, I don't understand this whole Pioneer and Town and Country and Realty Center. And quite honestly, I'm trying to explain it, and I don't understand the damn thing. So at any rate, we decided to accelerate the process. So the reality is, this is going to not happen overnight because these things just take some time. But effective as quickly as you guys want to start changing your materials, you can do that today. If you want to wait a month or two because you've got some stuff, which I do, quite honestly, I've got thousands of business cards and thousands of marketing pieces that say Pioneer Real Estate. I'm not going to throw them into the trash. I mean, the information, as far as I'm concerned, is good. But we are going to rebrand basically everything within the office pretty quickly. So what that means to you is, I'm sure a few of you have got business cards, you've got, you know, personalized open house signs or for sale signs or marketing pieces. We're going to do this on the honor system, okay? I am not going to inventory, and I'm not going to ask you to bring in your 55 signs, check them in, and then exchange them for 55 signs. You're going to tell us, Anna that is, hey, this is what I've got. I've got X amount of for sale signs, X amount of open house signs, X amount of whatever it happens to be, and we will we'll rebrand them for you. Okay? We're not going to rebrand them in that we're going to put stickers on them. We're not going to do that. You can do whatever you want with this stuff. If you want to put stickers on your own signs, that's fine. I got no problem with that. I've done that for years. But we will buy you new for sale signs or new open house signs or whatever the heck you want. So, and again, I'm just going to assume everybody is going to be honest with me, and you're not going to start telling me that you've got stuff that you don't have. Mr. Sam.
That includes my new car just bought that got Pioneer all around it.
Well, actually, that's a whole other point. Since you mentioned it, I'm assuming most of you have seen our new Coldwell Banker wrap on those trucks. We actually have 6 trucks. We're on truck number 2, and the OJ's had a little trouble with some equipment, so I was hoping the second truck was going to be here this morning. But some of you may have already heard this. We're wrapping those trucks. I got to tell you, the young man who is doing the marketing for us is giving us such fantastic prices. The prices are literally so inexpensive, it's almost like you can't not do it, you know. So, getting back to the truck wraps, if you have a vehicle and you want it wrapped, I will pay for it. Now, which could be very dangerous because, you know, it's not, I mean, it's inexpensive, but it's not cheap, okay? Now, having said that, we're going to have to probably lay down a few rules on exactly what that wrap would entail. And I know there's a few of you that have absolutely zero interest in this, and I get that. But if you do have some interest in this, come see me. I think I've had a couple in this office, and I've got 2 in Covina, and got at least 1 in Redlands. So right now I've got probably 7 or 8 agents that have said, yeah, I want to do that. This is the deal, though. It's got to be a Coldwell Banker Town and Country truck. It can't be a Eric Fisher truck. Okay? So now having said that, it can be a Coldwell Banker Town and Country truck with some Eric Fisher stuff on it. Okay? But it's got to be Coldwell Banker Town and Country Eric Fisher, as opposed to Eric Fisher, Coldwell Banker Town and Country.
Does it have an Eric Fisher cell phone number on it?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we haven't like come up with the designs and stuff like that, but I don't know whether you love or hate the design of the new truck. I will tell you this, it's hard to avoid. We've been branding those trucks for, oh gosh, for as long as we've been Coldwell Banker. For about 12 years, we've had trucks running around with the logos on them. I got to tell you, one of our trucks can drive down the street, the old version, and I don't know if that was our truck or not. It looked like a little blue thing. It could have said Sparkletts Water or something on it. I got to tell you, you can't miss this sucker, man. You can see this thing coming from a mile away. So at any rate, if you have that sort of stuff, that's great. For those of you, I know like Michael, for example, and a few of you have magnets on your side. And again, I believe me, I don't know that I would be the first one to step forward and wrap my my new 750 Mercedes or something like that. But if you want to wrap your car, let me know. Now, if you don't, and you just want to replace some car magnets and stuff like that, again, let Anna know. Let her know what you got and how you want them, and we'll just put some regular car magnets together for you. So I'll be curious. I think, quite honestly, based upon the interest that I've heard just on the truck wraps alone, probably within the next 30, 40 days or 60 days or so, I think we'll probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 trucks driving around that are going to be wrapped like that in one form or another. 7 of them will be the company trucks. Actually, I'm going to get mine done. A couple people think I'm nuts, but I'm going to get mine done. What the heck? I'll lead by example. So I think Drew's getting his done. He's going to do a camel version, I think. So at any rate, which basically gets us to the marketing side. Just wanted to let you guys know from a marketing push, this is not going to be a 30-day or a 60-day, let's send out some emails and some postcards and just tell everybody what we've done. I literally am looking at a minimum of a 12-month marketing campaign. Whether that's Homes and Land magazines every month, kind of branding what we're doing. I still hate the newspaper. You may see something in the newspaper, but don't hold your breath. By the way, who gets the newspaper?
What is the newspaper?
So there's 2 of you in here that get the paper. So you probably won't see anything in the Press Enterprise or anything else like that, but there'll definitely be some online stuff, and we'll go with which again, I hate the Homes and Land stuff, but the Homes and Land and the gallery and all the rest of those are nice, obviously, listing tools. So, whether we've got buyers looking at them in car washes or stuff like that, it'll be a nice marketing piece for you guys to carry around, put in your briefcase when you sit down in front of your client, pop it open, which is everyone understands that's why we do that type of advertising, right? We don't do that type of advertising to sell somebody's house. We do that type of advertising so that the seller thinks, ooh, look what they're going to do for me, list with me. So you'll see a lot of that sort of stuff. Matter of fact, I got to talk to Mike Dew and a few others to get some contracts for that. We're doing a whole bunch of silly stuff. I mean, we've got balloons. It looks like at least if you don't have a T-shirt, by the way, we're giving away T-shirts. I'm probably just going to keep giving away T-shirts for the next couple, 3 months. We've got some coffee mugs we've ordered. We've got silly stuff. I like cozies because I go to the river and these cozies are perfect for a Coors Light can. So I've got about 1,000 of these cozies we'll be throwing around. We've got pens we've ordered. We've got silly little things like USB plugs to plug into the wall with Coldwell Banker Town and Country. Vicky's waving little Coldwell Banker lanyards. It's just the beginning. Quite honestly, these are... I don't know if you guys think this is cool or not. I think a few people within our team think I'm absolutely nuts. Who plugs their phone into the wall with a USB charger? Who's constantly losing the little cube for the USB charger? Well, I just ordered. How much of these did we order? 1,000 of them? 500 of them? Anyway, I got 500 of these suckers. Coldwell Banker Town and Country logo on them. I want these all over the place. Okay. On a different note, by the way, we also ordered. Did we get the USB car chargers yet?
No, those should be coming.
We ordered a boatload of the little USB car chargers. Am I the only person who lost a car charger and you have to pull into the gas station at the last minute and grab one?
No, mine always breaks.
Okay, has anybody?
A cigarette lighter?
It's a cigarette lighter one.
Oh.
Cigarette lighter for
And you plug the USB into it?
with a USB on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
I need some of those.
Well, they'll be here in a week. Okay, we're gonna pass these things out like candy. I bought one of these with the iPhone card on it, a cord on it. I think I paid $30 for it. How much did we pay for these, Ingrid? $1?
No, they were about $1.80.
Anyway, all this crap, I mean, all this great marketing material is so cheap. I don't know that you, I just can't stop it. I feel like a kid in a candy store. It's like I want all the jelly beans. So anyway, we're getting a whole bunch of these things. They are going to we're going to basically give them to you. We're going to be giving them to our tenants. We'll give you some extras you can pass out to your clients. Quite honestly, if you don't give them to your clients, I don't care. Give them to your kids, give them to your friends, give them to your mom, give them to whoever the heck you want to give them to. What I just don't want to see is I don't want to see them sitting in a box underneath someone's desk for 6 months. Which brings us to Mr. Leeper and I have been having a couple conversations, and as cool as you may think some of this is, or maybe you don't think it's cool at all, in addition to our 12-month branding and marketing campaign, we'd like to be able to give you guys something maybe that you could use, as opposed to, I don't see a lot of us walking through a farm passing these cozies out, but quite honestly, if you are farming and you are marketing, anybody want to take a stab? Don't say it. Anybody want to take a stab? How much is cozy on both sides cost?
35 cents.
It was about 50 cents. It was 60, 70? Ingrid, are you looking it up? It's somewhere between 50 and 65 cents. Guys, that's ridiculous. I mean, I ordered 1,000 of these for $600. You know, I don't know that you could go wrong with this sort of stuff. Point being is, if you want to get, how much?
54 cents.
54 cents. Are you kidding me? So, having said that, we're going to do a lot of Coldwell Banker Town and Country stuff. Frankly, I would suggest if you guys have it in your marketing plan and you have it in your budget, spend a couple bucks on this stuff. You know, get it into your farms, get it into your clients, whatever it happens to be, whether it's cozies or whether it's some of the other stuff. But, getting to the conversation that Chris and I were having, if you don't find that really useful, I would hope anyway, that you would find it useful to have some additional marketing materials that you guys could actually have. So one of the things that this affords us the ability to do, and again, talking cost savings and taking advantage of the 5 offices and the 5 brands, we're literally going to order by the tens of thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands, door hangers, just listed, just sold, new to the market, price change, whatever, okay? I need some help from you guys, though. I have a whole bunch of samples of stuff that I've seen over the years, some stuff that we've done, some stuff that other companies have done. If you guys, and I know Robert's doing a lot of his own stuff right now. I've seen, frankly, you jumped out at me as the only person that I've actually seen with printed materials for like door hangers and stuff. But if you have some stuff you think is kind of cool, get it into me, throw it on my desk, or give it to Ann, or give it to Ingrid. We're going to, I certainly expect by the next sales meeting to just be throwing out bundles of 500 door hangers and stuff like that. No cost. They're not going to be individually branded necessarily. They're not going to be Matt Cohen door hangers. They'll be Coldwell Banker Town and Country, just listed, yada yada, some sort of nice design, and then the traditional little space on there that you could staple a business card to, or slap a sticker on there, or hand write a, you know, I'm just going to do 25 in this neighborhood, whatever you want to do. So, and we're literally going to order those by the tens of thousands. Because if you guys know anything about printing, you pay for the first couple, 3, 4, 5,000, and then it seems like the next 5,000 are almost free. So again, we get the economy of scale with that. So I'm super excited, guys. It's been a battle, though. I got to tell you. I mean, Steve asked me what the folks at Realty Center and Redlands thought. Obviously, the Claremont and Covina offices, it's like, actually, believe it or not, they're actually as excited as anybody else I've seen, because number one, they're keeping the brand. They don't have to redo anything necessarily, but they're excited that, hey, we actually feel like we're going to be able to leverage that. I was a little bit worried about Redlands, unless I'm missing something, and I may be missing something, because I'm pretty good at missing stuff. They we're about as warm to it as I'd ever seen. In fact, a lot warmer than this group. So, so with that being said, anybody got any thoughts, good, bad, or otherwise?
I think it's great.
That's good, great. Debbie, you're overruled. All right. Well, again, it certainly has been a long decision. My only regret I have right now is I just wish we would have done it 3 years ago. I really do. It was, and that was to be honest, that was a weak decision on my part. I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to pull the pin and thought I might have a revolution on my hands. So, at any rate, pretty excited about it. If you have any thoughts or if you want to talk offline about it, let me know. Otherwise, please get us whatever ideas you have. If you've got some marketing pieces that you think might be cool that we might want to replicate, get them to me or to Anna or to Ingrid. Let us know what you have. My thought is I'm just going to order everybody a quantity of business cards, and again, I know not everybody has personalized signs, but if you don't have signs, you probably got sign writers, which may or may not need to be done. Bottom line, I'm certainly going to cover the cost of that sort of stuff for you. So, any other questions? Otherwise, I'm moving on.
They're going to wrap your boat?
I was going to wrap my boat, and then I waxed it over the weekend, and it looks so good. I don't know if I can do it. But we probably should do that. Yeah, we should do that. We certainly should wrap. We should wrap the ski boat because we're out of Paris enough. The people at Paris know my dog more than they know my company. So if we showed up in a Coldwell Banker Town and Country boat, huh? Yeah, we'll wrap the dog too. So,
Get him a life vest.
I'll wrap it, and if you have no interest in it, I get it. Is there anybody in here that would be interested in having their vehicle wrapped?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so a couple, three maybes. Okay. All right. And frankly, I'm not particular. I mean, it was one of the agents in Covina wasn't really thrilled about it. He said, hey, I've got another truck that I drive periodically that I was thinking about having painted. I'm like, well, don't paint it. Let us wrap it for you. So they don't necessarily want to maybe do their daily driver, but again, I don't really have a problem with that. The prices are so reasonable to get these things done. If you're going to park it in the garage, I don't know that you'd want to wrap it anyway. I mean, in theory, there is some value to this, as Eric was saying. Can I have my name somewhere? Yeah, of course you can. I mean, it's not like you have to be a complete commercial, a blank commercial for Coldwell Banker Town and Country. You can. We'll get some designs together that says yes, you can have your name here, you can have your phone number here, and all the rest of that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Maybe that's a good solution. So you take the tail. We'll figure it out. Anyway, more to follow. All right, guys. Couple other quick things we're going to go through. Anna and the girls and everybody in the staff brought all the donuts. Is that $200 worth of food? That doesn't look like $200 worth of food to me.
Diana James.
Anyway, somebody pinched me for $250, but it looks like we got a bunch of donuts and food over there. Okay, we've got a few new agents. I've actually left a few names on the board because we've been really bad about kind of announcing people from a month before, and then they didn't even know we had a sales meeting. So the newest agents we have since our last sales meeting is Ralph Jorge, who's not here yet. He's probably going to be joining us here in a month or so. Eric is back, by the way. For those of you that remember Eric, give Eric a hand. We're like glue. You leave for a while, and somehow you end up getting sucked back in. As is Diana James. Some of you might have seen Diana James in the office yesterday. She's going to start back September 1st or so, right after Labor Day, whatever day that is. She's going to come back. She's actually going to do kind of a mixed deal with real estate and maybe do some property management stuff for us. But Estella Moore, I thought I saw Estella here earlier. No? Okay, I guess not. Estella Moore is new. Griselda is not really new. She's been here for a little while, but I don't think did we announce you at the sales meeting before? We did it. Stand up, Griselda. Griselda's actually been working with Steven and Mark doing some stuff, but I wanted to get her on there because I think we missed her. Robert, I don't see Robert. Robert's actually been in the office quite a bit. Anyway, Robert Guyton is new, and then Crystal Jackson, she does spell her name with a capital J, actually. So, at any rate, we've been on a tear. I want to thank Ingrid for all her recruiting efforts. And then I left the names at the bottom because I'm not sure. Matter of fact, I got Griselda on there twice. But anyway, those are some agents that I know that we've talked about previously. So, needless to say, we're on a recruiting push. Market's changing, guys. I got to tell you, I mean, it's changing. And quite honestly, if you didn't think it was changing, look at this. Okay, and again, you may have mixed feelings about this, okay? As much as I want to say this is all of Ingrid's efforts, and frankly, 99% of this is all of Ingrid's efforts, but quite honestly, if we had Ingrid calling real estate agents a year ago or 2 years ago, that board would be empty. It might have one person, 2 people on it, because nobody wanted to get into this office. And there was very little office jumping back and forth because the market was just, it was what it was. This is an indication of a bunch of things. And one of the things this is an indication of is a changing market, and a changing market for the better. The market starts to get a little bit, now whether it's as good as some of the news reports and press reports may state, we can have that debate for hours. But we've got some competition, guys. We've got some new, fresh blood coming into this market, which again, some of you may just sit back, like I probably would have done it more than one time and say, are you kidding me? Who the hell these people think they are? Getting into this market, listing their mom's house, listing their aunt's house, listings that you guys otherwise would have had. But you got to adapt. You got to take advantage of this marketplace. So at any rate, I want to welcome the new folks, and I think we'll probably have another 6 or 8 at next month's meeting at the rate we're going. I want to talk briefly about Wolf Connect. We've been kind of putting this out for 6, 7 weeks now. I was really, really hoping that by this meeting this will be up and running. We have a meeting scheduled this morning at 10 o'clock after this meeting, which is supposed to get this up and running, but I believe that meeting was postponed. We ran into some sort of technical difficulty. So I know there's been a few of you that said, hey, you wanted to beta test it. I'm hoping, and I know I've been saying this for a month, I'm hoping that'll be available to you. Oh, Robert is here. Robert, I missed you. Did you just sneak in? Oh, yeah, I was looking around for you. This is Robert Guyton. He's literally our newest agent. So, welcome, Robert. So at any rate, hopefully we'll have Wolf Connect up and running here within the next couple of days. I'm really excited about it. I just can't wait to roll it out to you guys. What is it? Great question. Who does not know have any idea what I'm talking about? Okay, good. For those of you that do, bear with me for 60 seconds and we'll talk about it a little bit. Wolf Connect is a portal which basically will allow all of you as agents to log into our system, if you will. And you can do a variety of things. You want to, is there a sales meeting next Tuesday? Now, we already kind of have this on the website in various capacities, which quite honestly, very few of you, I was going to say nobody check out. That's not true. Very few of you go to the portal, check out the training calendar and all the rest of that. But this would substitute that. It would have the training calendar on there. It's also a place if you just want to know, I had an agent in Claremont ask me this a week or so ago, how do I pull all the office listings? Well, you go into the MLS and you pull the office codes and there's the office listings. Pretty basic question. For many of us, we may be like, God, that's a stupid question. Well, one thing that's kind of nice, for those of you that have interest in that, you wouldn't necessarily have to go into the MLS anymore. If you log into this portal, I would imagine, I would hope that most of you would find value in this and you would log on once a week, maybe a couple times a month. Some of you may very well be in it every day. But if you wanted to see all the office listings, you go to the page, you click on the button, and it gives you every listing in every office, every status. It also gives you what you guys have. Yeah, wait.
Could that be separated by city too?
Yes.
Also?
It can be separated by city. It's basically an MLS feed, but the filter is already built that says pull up the 5 office listings, and then you can take a look at it, and then it's just exactly like the MLS. And you could sort by city, you could sort by price, you could sort by office, you could sort by whatever. It also has a feature in it that will allow you guys to pull your own numbers. So if you wanted to say, hey, I'm seeing my tax guy next Tuesday, I want to see I lost my 1099, what was my number? You'll be able to go in real time and see, hey, what did I do last year? What did I do last month? What did I do last quarter? And it'll give you a complete breakdown of gross commission, royalty fees paid, errors and omissions fees paid, what your net commission check was, if there was any deductions or expenses, if you were paying referrals out or whatever happens. It'll basically give you the accounting. It literally is a live feed into what Sarah and Lily use. So, and it's when I say it's live, it may not be instantaneously live. It syncs a couple, 3 times a day, I guess. So, I mean, if she cuts a check at noon, you may not necessarily see that at 12:30, but certainly by the end of the day or the following morning, you'll see it. It will also give you, and this is the part that I'm excited about. I've mentioned this a couple of times, and I haven't gotten great feedback from it. But one of the things that I'm excited about, who has an open escrow? Okay. Do you know exactly how much your commission's going to be on that? I would think you would. Okay? Okay, so Steven's shaking it off. He just goes and sells it. He doesn't know what's going on. Okay? When I was actively doing that stuff as an agent, and even today, I don't know, call me anal, but I like to go and say, hey, I've got 3 open escrows, and if they all close, this is how much money I have to pay my bills that are due. Okay? This basically will give you that exact number. Okay? It will also give you, if the information's not there, it will give you information that's not there. And this is kind of why I'm hoping we get a little bit of buy-in on this. So let's just suppose Tom has 2 open escrows, and he logs on and he wants to see what's going on. But within the system, it says that Tom has 4 open escrows. So I'm like, okay, well, that one fell out, and that one closed. Okay. Well, the close wouldn't be a good example because we would take care of that. But if he had 2 escrows that fell out, well, the reason it still show up in the system is because he hasn't told anybody. He hasn't updated sky slope, he hasn't changed the status in the MLS. And to be honest with you guys, that happens all the time. And then the flip side of that is, which is the exact opposite of that issue, and this is a problem for me. Let's suppose, again, Tom wants to say, hey, what's going on? He logs in and he looks into the system and it says he has 2 open escrows and his net commission is going to be $7,000. Tom knows that, well, I don't have 2 open escrows, I have 6 open escrows. How come the 4 additional escrows aren't in the system? Well, because again, there's a disconnect somewhere. Maybe something's not at sky slope, something's, not whatever it happens to be. So this will allow not only our side, the back end of the office, but it'll also allow you guys to take a look at exactly what you have. Listing dates, expiration dates. And again, this may not work, but let's use Tom as an example. Let's suppose he's got 4 open escrows and they're all scheduled to close in August. But within the system, because we all do this, we're notorious for this, I've done it. Well, I know it's going to close in August, but I'm going to put a September 15th close of escrow date on it, just because. Okay. Well, that will reflect on the report as well. You may just mentally say, okay, well, I know that one's going to close in August and that one's going to close in August. But you may also say, well, geez, I really would like to see what am I closing in August and what do I have scheduled for September. So that'll allow you to go in and manipulate those close of escrow dates. So we'll have a real accurate picture of exactly what's closing. Now, this is the deal. Right now, we have probably about 25% complete buy-in from our agents on this sort of stuff. I'm hoping that this is going to increase it by about 10, which means 65% of you could care less about this and you're not going to do it. But it's 10% better than I have right now. So that's really what I'm looking for. Also, this potentially could replace SkySlope. Okay? And it would only replace SkySlope if it does what SkySlope does. But this has a portal that basically is a SkySlope-like portal. If they make it like SkySlope, and some of you may say, I hate SkySlope. I get that, but I don't. I love SkySlope. But if they make this portal similar to SkySlope, we will get rid of SkySlope, which would be actually a perfect thing for me, because that would be the new SkySlope. So you would literally be forced to log into the program, even if you didn't look at all the other stuff. You just get hit in the face with the message. Anna would send you the message that says, hey, sales meeting tomorrow's been changed to 10 o'clock. You'd see that on your way into SkySlope. So, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a pretty cool program. We'll see how cool you guys think it is, hopefully in about a week or so. It also has like a forms portal and stuff like that. I mean, who's had to call me on a weekend at 10 o'clock and say, what's our NAID number? Yeah, I'm looking at you, Ruth. You raise your hand. I know you're the most recent person to do it. Okay? Well, there's been a few of you that are calling me at 10 o'clock in the evening because they're doing a HUD offer. And now, again, that information is in a bunch of different places. Okay? Shame on me that you don't know where to find it. But this will be the final repository for that type of information. Who's said, hey, I need a copy of the most current E&O policy? Okay, it happens all the time. Again, that's in place already. Not everybody necessarily knows how to get it. Well, again, this will be the repository for that type of stuff. So you'll hear, hey, go to Wolf Connect. What you want the E&O policy? Go to Wolf Connect. You want the copy of the whatever? Go to Wolf Connect. There's a little file folder in there. A good number of you guys attend our training classes. One thing that we've been bad about in this most recent training session is we're not handing out materials with the training class. We're doing a class on disclosures. You guys show up with a notepad. There's no materials to look at. I throw some stuff on the board. I have materials for all of those training classes. I have them all. Okay? I just don't take the time to print them out and give them to you guys on Thursday afternoon when we do the training class. So all of those materials will be loaded up into Broker Wolf. So if you so choose, says, hey, we're going to do a class on purchase contracts. Let me see what the materials are. You can go into Broker Wolf. Hey, we're doing a class on purchase contracts. If you want to download that stuff and print it, bring it to class with you, it'll all be there for you. So it'll be stuff like that. So, and more. I think I'm missing a couple other cool things. What am I missing now? I got most of it? I got most of it. Okay, so that's what Wolf Connect's all about. Any other questions on that? None? Okay, I'm going to just take 2 seconds and talk about what's going on, because it wouldn't be a meeting with me if we didn't have some numbers. I know this is hard to see. Is the market getting better?
Yes.
That's the best we could do? Yeah. Guys, the market's getting better. That's all I can tell you. This is inventory. I know it's very difficult. This is July, 45,068. These numbers keep changing. We keep talking about this every month. I'm not sure that I've got a satisfactory answer as to why some numbers that I think should stay static are not static. I'm still working on that. But if you look, by the way, let's go, let me show you this, because this is the visual that goes with this. Now, we've been talking about inventory bottoming, and this is the part that I get confused with this, because these red bars were going down, 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 down. There's been some sort of adjustments. Some of it I think has to do with the CRMLS data merger. But if you now look through the entire CRMLS, the inventory has been gradually creeping up for 4 months. Okay? Now, 4 months ago, we didn't say that because it looked like it was still down. That's why I get confused why these numbers have kind of shifted a little bit. But this is the deal. 45,000 active listings at the end of June. Excuse me, end of July. That's up from June, it's up from May, that's up from April, and basically the bottom, if you will, was March. 40,000 active listings. So we've seen about, which feels about right to me, we've seen about a 10% increase in listings in the last few months. I don't know if that feels right for you guys or not, but it seems to feel right for me. The pendings are up. They're pretty much up. Let's just go back to January of this year. I'm just going to round the numbers. Call it 11,300 in January. A little bit less, a little bit more than 11,000. 12,005, 12,008, 12,006, 12,003, 13,003. Pending transactions. Gradually going up. Now, if you want to compare that to a year ago, let's just take July of a year ago. 12,005 compared to 13,300. Not huge, but better. Just a sec, Brett. There was an article in the newspaper or somewhere said pending sales in July down 2%. Did anybody see that? Okay, well, if you didn't get the Press Enterprise, you didn't see it. But they pulled it from CoreLogic, or they pulled it from somebody. They're talking national. They might have even been talking California. But when I see that, and this is why quite honestly, you guys need to subscribe to the newspaper, or at least get the feed, because who's getting the newspaper? Some of your clients are getting the newspaper. And if they're seeing a thing in the newspaper that says, you know, sales have gone down 2%, could that potentially change the mentality of a seller that you're going on a listing appointment for tomorrow? Well, you need to be prepared to, you know, what a great marketing piece for your farm. Hey, you know, Press Enterprise reported a 2% drop in sales in California, July over July. However, our area reported a 6% increase in sales July over July. Don't be afraid, you know, whatever it happens to be. But anyway, the sales are up, and then the same thing with closings. This is, let's just go back to January. 9,800, 9,200, 11,600, 12, 13,100, 12, 13, excuse me, now call it 13,000, 12,900. Closed sales. Closed sales for July. So those numbers are good, and if you want to go back to July of last year, 12,600. 12,600 to 12,900. More houses sold. Now, is it perfect? No. Get it? Are we better off than we were a year ago? Hell yes. Better off than we were 2 years ago? God, well, yeah. It's not even, and again, if you want to go back 2 years ago to July, 11,003 compared to 12,900. So let's just call that a 13% increase in sales. But also, what have the prices done? Prices, 30, 40, 50% increase.
Yeah.
Commission checks are bigger.
Some of the days sold average days on market, is that from a pending and sold?
Correct.
Okay.
That number is from pending to, no. That number is from the date it was listed to the time it closed, 50. Which does that sound about right? Sounds right to me. And those numbers are getting smaller, basically. Inventory is moving quickly. Now, I will tell you, we don't have a top listed agent for July because you guys aren't putting your listings in the MLS. Okay? I'm gonna have to have a little chat with a few of you because I know we took some listings and they weren't in the MLS. What do you got, Brett?
How big a geographic area is that?
This is CRMLS.
So
So
what is that?
CRMLS is, let's just correct me if I'm wrong, basically Marietta, all the way up to 215 and everything on either side. Canning Beaumont, all the way down the 10 to West San Gabriel Valley. So it's going to take you all the way into Claremont, Covina, that whole stretch along the 10. And then the 91 freeway to, well actually, we're bigger than that now. I was giving the old CRMLS bound rights. From Corona in, now this has, which is why I got to go back and take a look at some of these numbers because there's no possible way this can now include the Pacific West numbers. I've got to talk to the guys at Brokermetrics and see, because CRMLS now includes all the Pacific West stuff, which is basically North Orange County, Long Beach, that whole kit and caboodle. So there has to be some difference, because otherwise these numbers would be double. We literally would double. So this must still just include. I know what happened. Okay, you know what the guy told me, and I didn't understand what he was saying. The reason these numbers have changed is because the agents that were in Pacific West, let's say they have an office in Huntington Beach, but they took a listing in Moreno Valley, but they didn't put the listing in CR, they kept the listing in Pac West. Those numbers have now been reported. That's why they jumped. Because those numbers wouldn't have been here. Everybody understand what I'm saying? If it was basically an out-of-area agent, those closings and those listings would not have been reported as CRMLS listings. So now apparently those are all in there. Thank you. Ruthie.
Well, I took 6 listings in July. 4 of them are commercial listings, which maybe you didn't look under commercial.
I did not look under commercial.
And then I have 2, I have one in Yucca Valley, that's vacant land, so I don't know if you looked under
I
vacant
didn't look
land.
under vacant land.
And then the other
Ruthie is the
thing-
listing agent of the month for July. Anybody do better than 6?
That was like
5? 4?
July.
Drew, make a Ruthie a reply. So, and I'm not doing that. Thank you very much. I'm just searching residential, single-family stuff. I haven't been searching land or commercial or anything else. I need to do that. Someone
I do
pointed
have
that out to me
one,
before.
a residential.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, all I can tell you is the market's improving, and I'll say this again because I say it at every meeting. Go get your piece. If you're not getting your piece, you need to go get your piece. Any other questions on those numbers? Otherwise, I'm going to congratulations, Stephen. Did you already? Come on up, Stephen. Drew, we probably could have taken the coffee grain off of this piece of. Stephen, you're going to get some Windex out. You got a little bit of a coffee ring on this. Anyway, Stephen is our July 2013 closed escrow king. Congratulations. I think you did 4. Does that sound right? It's 4. Yeah. About $25,000 in GCI, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood. So, yeah. What are you doing, Stephen? Just working. That's normally what he says. He's just working. Again, we don't have a top listing agent except, well, I guess Ruthie is our top listing agent. I'll start doing that.
You owe her a plaque.
Huh?
You owe her a plaque.
We'll get a plaque. Don't you worry about it. We'll have a plaque before lunchtime. So, anyway, again, I don't want to talk about not putting our listings in the MLS at this meeting because we've already talked about it. But we're going to have a serious little chat because there's some inventory that's just not getting into the MLS, and it scares me. It scares me a lot. So, we'll talk about that one-on-one. Don't really have any news. How's Skyslope doing? Everybody okay with Skyslope?
Sloping.
I was wondering if prices seem to go, they're going up.
Prices are going up.
Are they being artificially inflated?
Yes. They sure are. We kind of skipped over it because ooh, did I not? Did I kill that thing? Gosh darn it, I think I killed it. Oh, wait a minute, it's here.
Stop it.
No, I didn't. Here it is. You want to see prices? This is prices. This is CRMLS price chart. So we're still up. This is 37% from 2 years ago. Right now, if you go to here, it's 42%. This is a little bit of a plateau. I think we're going to start to see a little bit of a leveling. I mean, we can't see it. I guess we could, but I don't think we're going to see another 40% increase in values in the next 12 months. I just don't see that happening. The hedge funds and the investors certainly were responsible for a lot of this, but they're still going up. I mean, they're still going up. I mean, I was out on an appointment yesterday looking at a house that we did have sold for $370,000. The seller wouldn't take the offer. But boy, I'm assuming for those of you that are going on listing appointments, you're getting this sort of feedback. I had a past client, I've known him for years, we used to manage his house. I had his house listed in 2007, 8, 6 for $385. Brought him an offer for probably $385. He didn't take it. You guys all know what happened.
Yep.
The house today is worth probably 210, maybe. 6 months ago it was probably 175, 180. But guess what he wants? More. I gotta get 280. And then he asked me the question, when do you think it's gonna go to 280? Like, I have no flipping idea, man. You know, do I think it's going to be worth? This is what I told him. Do I think it's going to be worth more in December than it is today? I do. But in order to get to 280, we'd have to see another 30% jump in property values. I'm not feeling that in the next 12 months. I don't know when we're going to get there. We might never get there. But it certainly is an interesting conversation. Who's having those conversations with their sellers? I mean, you just listed that. What'd you sell that guy that house for a year ago?
450.
And you've got it listed now for
840.
and it's going to sell for 8. Sold it a year ago for 450. Legitimately will sell for 8 today.
Not even a year ago, it was in December.
Yeah. Legitimately will sell for 8, and the seller is not happy with a $350,000 appreciation in 10 months. Not happy with the guy doubled his money almost in less than a year and wants more. I gotta get an extra 50 grand. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Leeper, there's no way I'm gonna pay you 6% commission. Which really sucks because you busted your ass getting him into the house in the first place. And he wouldn't have bought that house had you not done all the work you did for him a year ago. But again, it's human nature. That's human nature. Everybody wants more. So we'll see. I think the good news for a lot of those sellers, unless something dramatic happens, I'm thinking that this is just going to kind of level off, and we're going to see a lesser appreciation number, but a positive number in months, even with interest rates going up. I think we're
Buyer frenzy kind of slow down too.
Did you ever hear the question?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it just priced several people out of the market, though.
Yeah.
Question was, is the buyer frenzy slowing down?
No.
I don't think so, but yeah, I totally agree with Dwayne. I just feel terrible for those, I was going to say younger buyers, forget whether they're young or old, but those buyers that are within that, let's just say that $200,000, $250,000 price range, that a year ago thought, wow, if I could get in here, I could buy this house in this neighborhood, and now that house in that neighborhood is not a $250,000 house. So now they're looking at a house, quite honestly, in a neighborhood that they don't want to live in. It's too small, it's too this. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like the 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 run up all over again. It's the exact same situation that what we were in before, where you now got people, priced out of the market. And frankly, interest rates won't help that, which is why it's entirely possible that well, not entirely possible. I mean, this is unsustainable. I mean, this chart may not look that dramatic. You know, this doesn't look like, this is dramatic. You don't see 30 or 40% increase of property values in 12 months. Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. That's why the fundamentals of the market are still broken. But the opportunity for us in this business is as good as it's been in 7 years. Absolute prices are up. Stephen, I hate to keep calling people out because sometimes it gets me in trouble. How many listings did you take in the last few weeks? 6, 7? 9. Ruthie took 6. Ruthie went stealth on me because she's doing commercial and some other stuff. There's 9 listings in the last 30 days, so that's probably going to be our top listing agent in August. That inventory is out there, guys. We're starting to see it. We're seeing it across the board. Drew made a comment of it a couple days ago. That you're starting to see listing inventory from our offices just pop up in searches that otherwise we weren't seeing it. It's across the board. I mean, and again, this may not look that dramatic, but to me, it's pretty damn dramatic. A 10% increase in units listed in the last 5 months. It's still too low. Compared 45,000 compared to 85,000 2 years ago. Okay, still too low, but that's gradual improvement. And it's all price. It's all. This is who went to our market forecast with Bruce Norris and Thornburg. Okay, at that panel we were talking about, and not that I'm proving myself right because I don't know that this proves me right, or this may say nothing as it relates to my analysis of the data. But one of the things that I had said is as property values increase, sellers will be more inclined to sell, we'll see more inventory come to the market. And Bruce had said, I don't think so, because just because the values are up doesn't mean that they're going to want to sell, because where are they going to go? You know, they may very well be locked in place. And that may be the case for a lot of people, but as property values have increased, inventory has increased. There's more people, so we've got more houses for sale, we've got more under contract, we've got more sold. And prices are up. What do we need? We need 2 things in this real estate market to help us stay in the business and make a living. We need unit sales, and frankly, we need to sell stuff that's not $50,000 anymore, or $80,000, or quite honestly, $120,000. I'm not saying don't go out and sell those houses, but it's a lot nicer when you see unit sales increase, and instead of selling a $120,000 house, you're selling a $250,000 house, even if you have to take a little bit of a hit on the commission. The net to the bottom line is substantial. Exactly. Where are you going to buy a $120,000 house anymore? You're not. So, anyway, we're going a little bit long. Let me just wrap up. We talked about SkySlope, and then we kind of got off the topic again. Anybody got any concerns or issues with SkySlope? Are we all good with SkySlope? Doing fine? Okay. Excellent. We talked about Wolf Connect, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Summer's doing great in escrow, although she's sick.
She's there.
Yeah, but she's sick. Leave her
Yeah,
alone.
she looks
Just look her in the eyes. Property management's doing fine. I got to tell you, as a side note, property management business is starting to explode as well, which I like. Okay, and you should like as well. Don't forget that we've got this available to you guys. It is a great source to incubate your leads. So we're doing well. Remember, I got so busy we're hiring. I don't know that we have any super hot topics. We've talked about the Jambaloo. Nobody's going to New York, right? Okay. Got the online courses, business planning. Anyone want to shoot a video? Oh, I want to show one video. Let's close. Do I have your permission to show your video, Robert? Make sure I have permission. If I start showing people's videos, I get in trouble. Anyway, Robert decided to shoot a new video.
We can shoot a video today.
If you want to shoot a video today, Brian will set the green screen up, and we can go shoot videos in the conference room today, if you want. What'd you call that thing, Robert?
Moving your future.
What's moving?
Moving your. It doesn't have Robert Portugal in the front.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
I thought I searched it that way. Moving your future?
I heard it.
Hey, Chris, I want to show yours too.
Moving your hips.
Yeah, we don't want to do that
I don't have mine on the YouTube channel yet.
Where are you, Robert? That's its title? I found it. I searched it and I found it. Where the heck did it go? All right, give me one more second here. Oops. GAL.
Can't you just go to our webpage?
Is it on your? Is it on yours?
It's on, yeah, it's on Coldwell Banker.
It's on coldwellbanker.com?
Yeah.
On their YouTube
Yeah,
channel?
find an agent.
All right. I've never done that before. I can find you on here?
Oh, no, our actual website.
On our, oh, you have it linked to, oh, I know where you got it linked. Okay, well, I'm sorry.
His agent profile.
Yep, I'm almost there.
Hey, you getting your alarm put in at the warehouse?
Yes.
You need to sign?
Yeah, would you sign that for me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. This is, thanks for bearing with me. I did find it on YouTube though. I searched it the exact same way I searched it, in YouTube, and you popped up. So I'm not sure what we're missing here. Okay, so we're on our website. We're going to Coldwell Banker's website. Please get Rose off of there for me, yeah? If you wouldn't mind. And there you are, Robert. Let's watch Robert's video. Sound's going to be a little quiet, but let's see if I can make this work. Am I buffering?
Welcome to Coldwell Bankers, Pioneer Real Estate, Moreno Valley. Hi, I'm Robert Portugal. You may know me from the past years as your Canton Springs Little League president, or the assistant Boy Scout leader from Pack 214, or just your neighbor in Sunny Ranch, Moreno Valley for the last 20 plus years. Whichever it is, I'm ready to help you move to your future. So if you're thinking about getting a bigger home, or something just a little smaller, or maybe you want something with a beautiful pool, or maybe something with a great view, give me a call today and let's get started. If you're thinking of selling or buying a home, give me a call today at 951-378-5746, and together we will move your future.
A little bit of Vanna White going there. Okay, I'm not going to make any comments on that video because I comment on people's stuff and I get in trouble. Having said that, I like that video. Is it perfect? So I'm going to get in trouble. So can I say it's not perfect?
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but that's a damn good video. Okay. Chris has done some real. I wish we could show that one.
We could do the one where,
With the tree in there?
yeah,
That's great. I love that one. That's working on. Is that on YouTube?
yeah.
And you know, just to finish up on Roberts, I just think that's just a great video. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. It's better than most. It's very personal. I like the Cub Scout thing. It's perfect.
Especially the fact that it just exists.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Oh, how should I search you? Just Libra?
This video's my favorite.
Now, this video, Chris showed us this video the other day.
Great.
You can go to my page or scroll down it from there.
It's the best video. There we go.
The one thing I love about Chris's video, number one, Drew and I were kind of goofing on this one a little bit because it's got a little funny thing on it. Is it this one?
Yep.
It's got a little funny thing on it. Maybe you guys will pick it up. But Chris is a natural. I mean, you're really. I mean, I don't think I've seen any agent, quite honestly, that's done a video in the office yet that just appears more comfortable in front of the camera. Okay. So I mean, it's just a good video. This one he showed us the other day. To see if you guys pick up the same thing that Drew and I picked up, though.
Full screen that sucker.
Okay, I'm going to full screen.
Hey, how you doing? This is Chris Lee Paper with Coldwell Banker, Pioneer Real Estate, and Leaper Realty Group. I'm in front of a just sold listing of mine.
What are you guys laughing at?
59 Casio Del
Afro.
Is it the hair? You like the hair?
Property was a 3-bed frame out, originally listed at $155,000. We were able to get this thing sold in about 45 days for $21,000 over asking price. If you're looking for results like this or curious how much your home is worth, go ahead and give me a call. Thanks a lot for the time, and I'll see you in the next one.
Is that great? It's got the big afro thing going, but again, that's a pretty damn good video. And again, you've got a real. I just think you're a natural in front of the camera. Where's that other one you did, Chris? On the that one's not up. He did a client testimonial one, which literally looks like you're just. Was that kind of spur of the moment, just out in front of the house, or did you plan that?
No, we talked. We were going to
Okay.
do it. First
Well, anyway, he's got a video with a client on a house that buyer or seller. Seller, standing out in front of the house. You know, hey, I sold your house. How'd it go? Oh, you did a great job, and we had challenges, and Chris, you were great. But it was so nice. The guy's selling shorts. He's got flip flops on. It's perfect. And again, it wasn't perfect. It was a good video. But man, I think which is why I like Robert's. I mean, that's pretty well done. You could have probably reshot it 15 more times and had it look a little bit better and whatever. Maybe got your hand motion a little bit better underneath the phone number. But at any rate, it's all good. So I just want to encourage you guys to do some videos. You really just need to get some videos out there. So anyway, we're way long. Anybody got anything else they want to add? Anybody have any closing comments about our conversion or our name change? We're okay. Okay, our Pioneer family is going to survive this dramatic shift in our name change. Yes, I got a couple thumbs up. All right, for those of you that are struggling with it, come see me. All I can tell you is nobody struggled with it more than me. I mean, it's literally the company that my dad and I started, so I don't know that you're going to get much more out of me than that. So, at any
It's
rate.
hard not to say Coldwell Banker Pioneer.
It's true.
That's the hardest
I've been
part
struggling
I've
with that. Oh, one last thing. Thanks for mentioning this, and I promise we'll get out of here. Who is currently using a PioneerRealEstate.com email tag? You're using one?
It's on my business card. I don't use it, but
Okay. Well, okay. For those of you, I've been using one. I never changed, quite honestly. When I was Pioneer Real Estate, when we went to Coldwell Banker, I just continued, forget about, Town and Country and Realty Center. I never incorporated the the Coldwell Banker into my email, which is, again, is partially why I think I'm a little schizophrenic on this issue, because a lot of clients that I've been sending emails to that I might not have been in touch with, my email still says Pioneer Real Estate. I've been with Coldwell Banker for 12 years. I've never incorporated, ColdwellBanker.com or Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate. But anyway, for those of you that have that email, if you would like to I'm not thrilled with this. Trust me, it's not necessarily the best name in the world. But for now, we're going to be using a CVTC SoCal domain. CVTC, Coldwell Banker Town and Country, SoCal, Southern California. Again, I'm not thrilled with it. I don't see anybody doing a backflip over that. One of the challenges with the Town and Country name is there's a lot of Town and Country out there. You get Town and Country, building supplies, and Town and Country dentistry, and and there's a C21 Town and Country over in Ontario, whatever it happens to be. So that's a little bit of a struggle. Most of you aren't doing that. Most of you are using a Google or a Yahoo or an MSN. You guys all know how I feel about that. I hate it. I don't think you should be using those type of emails. If you're not going to use the company one, you should get a Stephen and I think you use StephenandMaya.com. You should have something that's branding you. I'm all for that. But again, there's a lot of Gmail stuff out there. Maybe that's more acceptable today than it was 5 years ago. Maybe I'm overreacting with that. Does anybody have an AOL address? For those of you that are too embarrassed to raise your hand, that's the one you definitely got to get rid of. An AOL or an MSN. If you got a Gmail, I'll probably live with that. But those AOL ones, I can't believe they're still in business. Anyway, okay guys, thanks for staying a few extra minutes, and go sell something. Just so you can kind of see where I'm at, because this was for some of you, you may be like, no big deal, whatever, that's fine, I could care less. Others, you may think, wow, that's great, I never liked the Pioneer name anyway. Others may be, geez, Town and Country, I don't know that I'm really happy with that one either. So I'm sure there's the gamut of reactions from I could care less to it's the best thing in the world to the worst thing in the world. So let me give you a little history. First of all, and actually, I'm pretty sure, I know we talked about this, were you the very, very first agent? Okay. When the history of me, if you will, is when I got my real estate license and came to Moreno Valley, this building is the very first office I worked. This was Great Western Real Estate. And my dad was working here for, I think, about a year or so, and that would have been in 1987. And I came out here in 1988 from Cerritos, still in real estate out there for a year, and worked in this office, which is just really crazy. This was the very first building that I worked in. I don't even know where I was, because the bullpen in the office was materially the same as it is, which the offices are changed a little bit, but it was basically the same structure. So at any rate, in 1988, my dad got in a little bit of a pissing contest with the manager of this office at the time over some logos and stuff, and said, I'm going to go do my own thing. So Pioneer Real Estate was born. All right. So we moved to the corner of Peacock and Sunnymead, right behind the Wiener Schnitzel. Our very first agent that joined our team was Steve Browers, who took about a 24-year hiatus and did some different stuff and has now been back. But Steve literally was the very first agent that we hired as a Pioneer Real Estate agent. So at any rate, we did our thing for about 12 years. Myself, my dad, and I think we at the time probably had no more than 15 agents at our peak, and we were lean and mean and tight, and everybody made money, and that was that. When my folks retired, one of my plans for the company was to grow. And the reality is there are very, very few independent real estate companies that have any sort of size and depth within the market. Probably the only one that's had any huge success that I can think of is Tarbell. Tarbell is independently owned and operated. They certainly have been a force in Southern California, but quite honestly, if you go to Northern California or you get any way out of Southern California, nobody's ever heard of them. All right? So they kind of broke the mold from a standpoint of growth, at least regionally, but there's not a lot of other independent companies that can say that. So I spent, after my dad retired, about 3 years, literally, looking at franchises. I looked at all of them. Coldwell Banker is where we landed. And the part of the plan was to grow the office, see if we could do anything with multiple locations. And after 5 or 6 or 7 years of doing that, we started to grow. Okay, we opened the Santa Ana office a year later. It was a few months later. We acquired the Coldwell Banker Integrity offices, which is just kind of a blip. Sometimes I even forget about that. But we acquired 2 offices. The Coldwell Banker Integrity was in Paris, and then Coldwell Banker Integrity in Redlands. For those of you that know anything about the Coldwell Banker Integrity offices, the word integrity does not go anywhere with that prior relationship. So we immediately dropped the Integrity brand, rebranded them as Pioneer Real Estate, and we closed the office in Paris because they wanted to charge us $4,000 a month for a building that was worth $1,000. And at any rate, so we did business as Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate in the city of Redlands for about a year, which led to the acquisition of the Coldwell Banker Realty Center office. Who's been to the Redlands office? Okay. Well, we just passed our 2-year anniversary, which is amazing to believe that it's been 2 years since we acquired the Redlands office, Realty Center. But the same decision was made 2 years ago. It's like, oh boy, we're really schizophrenic. I mean, we're Pioneer Real Estate here, we're Town and Country out there, we're Realty Center in Redlands, and the same decision was made. Number one, let's leave it as Coldwell Banker Realty Center because they've been doing business. It's amazing, all of these 5 different offices, with the exception of Santa Ana, but Moreno Valley, Okay, I don't know who said this. Somebody must have said change is good. I was trying to find the author of that quote, or who was the very first person to say that, but that's probably been said by 1 million people, so I couldn't find anybody to attribute it to. So, as Mr. Browers and I were just discussing just a few minutes ago, By the way, I'm going to take this jacket off because number one, it's too small for me. I'm busting out. This is probably the worst kept secret in the history of our company. This is going to work up here. But at any rate, we're making a change. Is that okay, Ryan? Does that sound all right? Sound all right? Okay. We're going to, let me give you guys a little history because we have some new people here. And I'll make some introductions here after we get through this because I don't have everybody's name memorized. We are going to be dropping the Pioneer Real Estate DBA under Coldwell Banker. And we are going to basically unify the 5 offices under the Town and Country DBA. And let me give you a little history because most of you probably know how the history of the company and the acquisitions we've done over the last few years. But let me give you a little bit more back, which is hard to believe. The Santa Ana office we opened 4 years ago, almost. Actually, about 3.5 years ago. Might as well be 4. Then, as most of you know, we started dating and married the Town and Country office in Claremont and Covina. So it's literally, we're on our 3.5-year anniversary of acquiring the Claremont, Covina, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. And again, as probably most of you know, a decision was made at that time not to blend the names. And the decision was the following. Number one, we had been Pioneer Real Estate in this community for 25 years, either as Pioneer Real Estate or as Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate. And frankly, the Town and Country office, who's been to the Claremont, Covina office, by the way? I know a few of you. Okay. Well, those offices have been in business in those cities for an equal amount of time. They've both been doing business. Actually, they've been doing business as Coldwell Banker Town and Country for 25 years. So, and they were functioning offices. I mean, they've got, you know, at the time had 35, 40 agents. Now they've got 50 to 60 agents. And it was just a tough decision. You know, geez, do we make them Pioneer Real Estate? Do we make us Town and Country? And the decision was made to leave it alone. So for a variety of reasons. Some of them good, some of them not so good. So anyway, a year or so later, again, some of you may have forgotten this, but we actually wasn't